Pain of Joy. RAHEMUR is an artist, designer, filmmaker, and lecturer. His work is deeply rooted in the narratives of everyday life. Rahman's practice is characterized by strong emphasis on storytelling, which he achieves through a diverse range of skills acquired at St. Martin's and his experience working with renowned institutions like Louis Vuitton or the Victorian Albert Museum. He brings a unique perspective to his work that reflects his commitment to social knowledge and community engagement, using his platform to give voice to underrepresented communities. In recognition of his outstanding contributions to the field, Rahman has been nominated for numerous awards, including the Changemakers Prize by the British Fashion Council or the Outstanding Contribution Award by the British Bangladeshi Fashion Council. We're very happy that you're with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us, RAHEMUR, and over to you now.
I'm just checking that everybody can hear me. Sound is good? Good. Well, firstly, I just want to say thank you to the team at the Digital Multilogue for thinking of me, for working with me and genuinely engaging with me. I'd like to start this provocation with a minute of silence. I want to start with a minute to honor the pain and suffering we consume every day, and at the same time to reflect on the joy we create to counteract what we see. So I ask everyone to please close your eyes and let your minds go blank. Take a break from everything, from everywhere, from everyone. Take note of your breathing, take note of your body. Allow yourself to sink into this present moment. When you hear my voice again, you may open your eyes. The minute will start now. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. The reason why I wanted to do that is silence is something that I'm still learning to embrace. Growing up in a 3-bedroom flat with 11 people, the presence of voices was always a constant. The cacophony of voices around me was not just noise, it was a symphony of stories, struggles, and dreams. My experiences as a British-born Bangladeshi in East London, raised by parents earning well below the poverty line, shaped my understanding of the world. This environment instilled in me a deep sense of empathy and connection to others. As I navigated my adolescent years as a queer Muslim in a society that is deeply racist, queer-phobic, and Islamophobic, it sharpened my perspective on finding creative solutions. These experiences, combined with my roles as a fashion designer, artist, filmmaker, and academic, have helped me build actionable plans in my work. My journey in fashion and art is not solely my own. It reflects the collective pain and joy of those who are often unheard. I strive to create work that honors these voices, blending personal narratives with broader social issues, ensuring that my designs resonate with the community and inspire change. Today, I want to talk about the constant ethical contradiction that has been prevalent in my life, the joy and the pain. I'd like to begin with the words of academic and author Brené Brown. In this climate, the more we are willing to seek out moments of collective joy and show up for experience of collective pain, for real, in person, the more difficult it becomes to deny our human connection, even with people we may disagree with. Not only do moments of collective emotion remind us of what is possible between people, but they also remind us what is true about the human spirit. We are wired for connection. These words resonated deeply within me, especially as we sit here as creators, educators, consumers of art and fashion. We have a platform that allows us to both shape and question culture, and we must question it. We cannot be mere bystanders. We must engage, disrupt, and ask ourselves, how can we be conduits for change? The title of this provocation, The Joy of Pain and the Pain of Joy, might seem contradictory at first, because how can joy and pain coexist? But when we reflect on our experiences, we realize these emotions often intersect. Pain sharpens our appreciation for joy, and joy at times reminds us of pain we've endured. I love this artist, a multidisciplinary visual artist, Muyaka Shitanda, who explores this duality, said, "There's a lot of destroying, tearing, or breaking, taking things apart to make a whole. I'm trying to find beauty in the chaos." This speaks to the heart of today's theme. Pain isn't just something we endure, it's something that transforms, something that can create space for joy. In my own journey through fashion, I have felt this transformation. After graduating, I experienced grief, grieving my childhood fashion dreams, grieving the fashion industry I'd hoped to be a part of, grieving the promises of working in luxury fashion, and most painfully, grieving the lack of conversations around social impact. When I first entered the fashion world, I was taken away by the glamour. But as I got deeper into the industry, I began to notice the invisible hands, the workers in distant countries, the people whose voices we rarely hear, who are producing the very items I was designing. Most of the time from the global south by people who looked just like me. Throughout my career, I have sought to turn challenges into opportunities for innovation. For instance, I collaborated with local artisans in Bangladesh to create sustainable fashion brand that utilized natural dyes and reclaimed materials, designing from the death of the garment to its inception. This approach not only reduced waste and water usage, but also empowered and marginalized communities by giving them a platform and a voice in the design process. By showcasing how creativity can lead ethical solutions, I hope to inspire others in the industry to help to think critically about their practices and consider the positive impact they can have on both the people and the planet. How can we share our platforms with the people who allow us to have a platform? The contradiction hit me hard. How could something so beautiful be built on so much suffering? This led to me to realize that we as creators must be at the forefront of addressing not just aesthetic trends, but the pressing ethical and environmental issues of our time. Now, let's not forget the reality we face. The climate clock in New York is ticking. In just 5 years, our carbon budget will be depleted with catastrophic consequences. Many of these consequences we are seeing play out today. Global conflicts are escalating, wars in Ukraine, Palestine, Sudan, and beyond. Political tensions are rising, and humanitarian crises are unfolding across Ethiopia, Myanmar, and more. In the face of this, it's easy to feel hopeless. But what if we could channel that pain into action? What if we used our creativity not just design, but to reimagine a future where joy can coexist with the pain we feel? Our creative work shouldn't just reflect culture, it should reshape it. I want you to take a moment and reflect on this. Have you ever been caught between your values and the demands of the fashion academia and industry? What contradictions have you faced and how did you navigate them? What choices could you have made differently? This reflection ties directly to the duality of pain and joy. Confronting these contradictions will always bring up emotions of grief. But I believe grieving is the essential part of our journey as creatives. We must grieve the dreams that no longer seem possible, grieve the industry practices that have failed us, and grieve our own egos that make way for a collective change. And it's only through this process that we will rebuild and reimagine what fashion, art, and design can be in a world that needs us to care deeply. As educators, I encourage your students to ask, what does my design contribute to society? Push them to create work that serves marginalized people, challenges social norms, and makes spaces for voices too often excluded from fashion. By embedding this kind of thinking into our teaching, we're no longer just educating designers, we're creating the activists and visionaries for the world so desperately needs. We can transform pain into action. We can build a sustainable and ethical future for fashion by questioning what's broken and creating something new from all of its remnants. Consider brands like Iro, Patagonia, Bethany Williams, Vega. These are examples that prove fashion and ethics can coexist. Fashion Revolution is a great example. It's a global movement built on transparency and accountability, reminding us that ethical fashion isn't just a distant ideal, it's a possibility today. As artists and educators, we hold the responsibility to question and dismantle outdated, unethical practices. The contradictions we face, luxury versus sustainability, beauty versus exploitation, are not barriers, but opportunities for transformation. I invite you all to challenge your students, and if you're a student, to challenge yourself. What if you could create one garment this year and it had to last a lifetime? What would that look like? What would that be? That will allow all of us to push everyone to focus on quality, on durability and sustainability. Equip them with the mindset that they'll need to navigate the future of fashion in a world that can no longer afford to throw away. Encourage students to think about how their designs can serve all bodies and identities. Ask them to challenge fashion's elitism and consider, how can I create garments that are genderless, size inclusive, or accessible, and to people from all walks of life? Ask students to question themselves, what does my design contribute to society, and what does our curriculum contribute to society? Push them to think about how their work can serve a marginalized group, and how it can push social norms, or how it can make space for voices that are too often excluded from fashion. If we embed this type of thinking into our teaching, we're no longer just educating designers, we're training activists and visionaries the world so desperately needs. By embedding inclusivity into their work from the outset, your students will contribute to a more equitable and democratic fashion industry for the future. Imagine creating fashion design projects where students have to investigate the entire life cycle of their garments, from raw material to retail. In doing so, you're not just teaching design, you're teaching ethics. You're instilling a sense of responsibility for the people behind their fashion, pushing them to build brands that are transparent and ethical from the beginning. The world is shifting, and our teaching must shift with it. There's no place left for passivity. The stakes are too high. And as contradictions between beauty and exploitation, creativity and environmental degradation grow more acute, the next generation needs tools, not just for the aesthetic expression, but for the ethical transformations. So I ask all of us to embrace the joy and the pain that we all feel, to find solutions that are inclusive, ethical, and sustainable through the projects that we are going to do today. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you for your inspiring words. And I think, thank you very much for reminding us of the contradiction that we feel and that we also need to feel and need to balance. And